Welcome to Online Primetime. My name is Doug Kooy. With us tonight, Mary Zelba, recording artist extraordinaire. And I was watching the music video you just did. How difficult is that to make a music video?
Wow, it's a lot more difficult and a lot less glamorous than I think people believe, because the ending product is so nice and glamorous most of the time. But it's grueling. It's
you ever
a
get
lot
about halfway through it and wonder, what's this thing going to look like?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, that's storyboarded out, and and the director has usually gone through it quite a bit with me beforehand. But things change the day of the shoot, and yeah, and it's usually it's 3.5 minutes or a 4-minute song, and it sometimes can take 2-day shoot actually sometimes. And you cram a lot in those
How many
couple
hours
of days.
in a day would you spend?
Typically, we start at 8 o'clock and finish at midnight.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're back again the next day if it's a 2-day? It's a lot of money, too, isn't it?
Tons of money. And, they can exceed way into the millions of dollars, the big budget videos.
And of course, these are, the music videos are what it's all about. That's what's going to sell your whole, it's the whole image thing.
It really is. It's like you can't really release a song to radio anymore without doing a video. It's such an integral part of your music. It's not so much someone singing on a stool anymore as much as it used to be. It's not about the voice as much as it used to be. It's about the package.
All right, we're going to talk more about that, but let's go back and talk about who you are a little bit.
Okay.
Now, you were born in Ohio.
I was.
6 children, 6 brothers and sisters, musical family. When did it start dawning on you that you would like to be go for a music career?
Wow, I think I've been singing since I was very little, and I used to take the spoon out of the drawer that we used to keep like the kitchen utensils in, and pretend it was my microphone, and kind of walked around singing all the time, or I'd interview someone with it. I'd use it as an interview tool as well as a microphone. Yeah, my sister sang, my older sister, and it just it just evolved into me kind of following in her footsteps. And I sang in grade school, and then I sang in high school, and then ended up in the Miss Ohio pageant.
Who had the influence in your life? As you were growing up, young girl, listening to who?
Oh, wow. I used to listen to a lot of Motown.
Motown? Well, you're close to Detroit.
Close to Detroit.
Yeah.
I did.
Diana
Franklin. Diana Ross, Aretha Franklin. And then as I was a little bit older, Celine Dion was a big influence when she first started coming out. Toni Braxton is one of my favorites. George Michael.
How about some of the early pop stars, Blondie or Cyndi Lauper?
They were a little bit too alternative for me at the time. But I did definitely listen to him. But I really had an eclectic view of music. Like, I listened to everything, and I still do. I still will listen to. Sometimes I listen to classical, sometimes I listen to rap, sometimes I listen to pop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How difficult is one thing is the idea of putting a good music video together. The other thing is a stage show. I mean, you really have to be good in concert.
I know.
These things are phenomenal, what they have produced. I believe the Dixie Chicks, they're in town in Vancouver, and the show that they put on is amazing.
Oh, they're such big budgets too, and they get some of the best, choreographers and set designers.
We're talking big budget. Help us out here. What are we talking about? To put on a concert, let's say the Dixie Chicks, that style of concert, with everything that goes along with it. What do you think we're talking about here?
Wow, far into the millions. I mean, it's
really.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think their videos alone. My videos don't even compare to what you can spend on a video. They're like small budget films for sure. The video with Jennifer Lopez, I think some of her videos at least are 2 or 3 million.
Just to produce
a 3 to 4 minute.
You used to be able to put out a whole movie for that.
Oh, I know. People still do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, we have a lot of phone calls, as you can imagine. We are talking about the effects of music. We have Mary Zelba with us. She is great, and we're going to show you a little bit of what she does. We'll be talking more with her, and we'll take your phone calls. 1-866-NOW-TV10. We'll be right back.
I think they're pretty violent, a lot of them. A lot of them I think are pretty degrading. But I think that the kids are a little bit too young for what they're trying to portray. They should be be a little more civilized.
I don't think there's anything wrong with most of the escapism and fantasy that's shown in videos and shown on TV, but I think nowadays parents are letting their kids watch them without educating them to the fact that that is fantasy and escapism, and that Britney Spears doesn't walk down the street that way, and that what you wear on stage is not what you wear on the street.
I think they can be very influential, some positive, some negative.
Videos like Christina Aguilera videos are really affecting how young girls perceive themselves, and yeah, it's a huge influence, I think.
There are a lot of kids who kind of look to them for guidance, look to them for something to follow, something to strive for.
Ever since you came my way, you're all over my mind and body, and now I just can't stay away. So come on over here and we'll go on and on and on and on. Come on now, day and night, night and day. We'll go round and round and up and down. I find myself wanting you more, but I don't know if I can stand the
I'm kind of into the video myself. Could we just go back to I was enjoying that a lot. That's really good stuff. You're watching Online Primetime. My name is Doug Kooy. With me tonight, a very special guest, Mary Zelba, recording artist. You're living in Vancouver now?
I am.
And how does that work? Because you're from the States, and most people, from Canada are trying to get into the States. And
Yeah,
yet
I kind of did this backwards.
You kind of did it
didn't I?
backwards here. You're breaking into Canada.
I know. I couldn't help myself, right?
Yeah.
I actually was living in LA and met my future husband,
Ah.
who is Canadian. So.
All right. You were
Not my
talking
future
about.
husband. Excuse me. He actually is my husband.
He is your husband.
He is my husband.
Yeah.
Was my future husband at the time.
Now, let's try to get it right.
Got to get that right. He could be watching.
You earned a bachelor's degree in journalism at University of Toledo. Got my mouth fixed, or nose fixed. My mouth won't work. You also were crowned Miss Ohio.
Right.
I remember
You did
the
your
movie
homework. You
Miss
know that.
Congeniality. Remember that? With
I
Deborah
do.
Bullock?
Well, I didn't see that film.
Okay,
But
it's really funny the way they portray it, but we get this kind of a picture of these beauty pageants sometimes, and it's almost like the meat market type of thing, and the young ladies, parading out, and a lot of controversy about that. I think we, as a society, I think we're kind of majoring on the wrong things here. That the women are still seen as objects, sexual objects, and we're kind of portraying that too much, or. How do you feel about that?
I'm not sure if it will ever change. Do you think? I mean, I think it's something that's kind of inbred in society. I think we've come a long way, but I think there's probably quite a longer way ahead of us to go.
Does it bother? Do you watch these dating shows, like Fifth Wheel, some of those type of things?
I have watched it before. Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of bother you that the whole thing seems like such a game, the way they portray the whole relational thing between men and women today? And, the guy's out, and the thing is, you got to get the girl at the end, or are they going to end up in the hotel? It always comes to that area where they walk up to the door, whatever the dating show is.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting back saying, oh, man, is that, portraying the wrong thing to our young people today, do you think? I'm asking you all the easy questions tonight. You have boys coming up. Do you want boys to treat young ladies the way you see these animals on these shows?
No, I don't. And it's funny. I always say, no matter what I've done or what I ever will do in my life, the most important job that I have are raising those boys.
Yeah.
And if I can make some amazingly wonderful, caring, considerate, respectful men, then my job is pretty much complete, I think. So it does bother me, those kind of things that they see on TV, and I think it's getting a little bit worse. I noticed over the past couple of years it's getting worse.
I thought we had made a lot of progress in this area, and then all of a sudden, everything you see, we've just kind of gone to this toilet humor, all of us, or toilet type of stuff, you know, the reality
Yeah, the
TV.
reality shows.
But it's not reality. I mean, it's very scripted.
That's right, and I wonder, that's true.
And it just really bothered me. Got a lot of calls. Nicole's on the line. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing really well.
That's good.
So your thoughts tonight?
I just wanted to say that I think that the music videos aren't that bad, and that I'm glad that the artists are out there expressing themselves, and that people should feel free to express themselves in any way possible. As long as it's not hurting anyone else, I don't see the problem.
Well, that's a good point. You made a comment there, as long as it's not hurting anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that is kind of the question we have tonight, is there some damage to that? Let me give you an example, Nicole, and maybe interact with me on this and jump in, by the way. We have a lot of problems with things like bulimia, anorexia, young girls getting unreal expectations. You know, they look at beautiful young ladies like this, and they say, that's what I have to look like. And a lot of the imagery that's out there is unreal expectations. I mean, why don't we teach people to be happy, in a certain sense, with who you are and feel good about yourself and build that up?
I agree with Nicole. Excuse me. I agree with what she's saying. The artistic impression and the things that the artist can do. However, I think what it is that by chance, some of the young kids are watching television right now. It's so accessible that they do run across a lot of these, especially some of the hip-hop videos, as we were talking earlier. They are borderline on the soft porn, and a lot of it is done for shock value. There's no doubt about it. You do things sometimes because you want to get a reaction.
Sure.
Yes.
And those are the times where it could be harmful. And I think that sometimes children can grow up thinking, or having already a mindset thinking it's okay. Those things are all cool. Those things are okay. And that's always been an issue, I think, with television and the.
I liked what our psychologist said on our 9 o'clock show tonight. She brought up the idea that you can take these things as discussion points, where you can take a video and actually sit down with your child and be able to discuss certain things. And I think that's a positive thing, don't you, Nicole?
Yes, I do. I also think, though, with the whole bulimia and all that kind of thing, I think that's something to do with, like, your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself, and you shouldn't feel that way just about a video.
No, and I totally agree with you. In a perfect world, that would be true, Nicole. But we have a lot of young people raised in situations where families are not good, and their self-esteem is not good, and they're looking for role models. And you know, we don't live in a perfect world, unfortunately. Yeah. Good points, Nicole. Thanks for your call tonight. Lynn's on the line. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing real well. What are your thoughts?
Well, basically, it is the video that Mary did there. We saw. I mean, you know, that's good. I liked it, but there are a lot of ones out there that are very suggestive in the sense of sexuality versus the fact of violence, as to how the music, the words that half the time you can't hear, let alone understand. Same as with a lot of these. You mentioned a few minutes ago regarding a lot of the shows. I mean, some of them are very disrespectful, and that's what they, you know, where there's these cartoon comedies and stuff like that, that, you know, they're basically implying to kids that this is what family life is like, and same as with some of the music videos, that this is how you're supposed to react and how you're supposed to treat your parents and people around, and that, yes, it can be very hurtful to young kids and growing up, because they're very impressionable, and parents that allow them, they basically should say, hey, look, you know, go through if this is what they want to watch, or if there's stations on the TV saying, well, you know, figure out a way where they can put a blocker on where they can't be watching these things, because that's how our next generation is coming out, is by watching a lot of this stuff, and believe me, we're in big trouble.
All right, Lynn, thanks for your call. You feel somewhat conflicted about this, because you have marketing people that come up to you. Not putting words in your mouth here, but they come up to you and they say, hey, you know, raise it up a little bit here. It happens, doesn't it?
You have to push buttons, and that's what it's what it's about, is pushing buttons and trying to get emotional reaction out of people. And that's what the video business is about, as well as an artistic expression. But we do always think about those things, like what are we going to do to make it look a little bit more glamorous or a little bit more sexy, and I have just, when I have to go through it with the director or go through it with the people at my record label, you know, we do talk about, like, how sexy do I want to go? What clothing am I going to wear? It always is an issue because I have a certain image that I want to portray, and I don't want to really step over that image. I don't want to be somebody I'm not. So by someone saying to me...
that's an interesting point, because a lot of people come up and when they get around somebody who is a star and is doing well, and they say, gee, you know, they are really a nice person, you know, because, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they're kind of amazed, like, oh, they're so, you know, they just talk to you so normal. Mm-hmm. And how hard is it to handle the stardom side of this business? Because people really do, you know, as you get more and more popular, you know. You
know, it's funny, when I was Miss Ohio and in the Miss America, this is kind of all kept evolving for me. And I've always been the type of person who tries extra hard to make sure people know that I'm super normal.
Yeah, I'm from Ohio. I'm a small town kid here. Yeah.
I had a cornfield behind my house. So, you know, I try extra hard to make people be approachable because this is just my art. This is what I do. This is like any other job. It's probably a bit more glamorous than what some other people do, but it's my art. It's my emotional things that are on the table. I mean, it's just I'm normal, just like everybody else, so the stardom thing, I've always had a bit of an issue with, just because I don't want anyone to treat me that much differently. I just want them to, I'm just like anyone else. And
I want to come back and ask you about, you know, what's the best thing about the pop star thing.
Okay.
And then what's the toughest thing? And we'll come back and talk about that. And we'll take a bunch of phone calls. I promise you. 1-866-NOW-TV10 is our telephone number if you can't get through. Online at nowtv.ca. I like that. All right, you're watching Online Primetime. Mary Zelba.
Anyways, good. Anyways,
what is that nationality?
It's Lebanese.
Lebanese. Mm-hmm. That's a neat name. I like it. Somebody just starting off in this business or wanting to get into the business. You know, a lot of young people watching this, and they're watching what you're doing and saying, oh, wow. And they have all those hopes and aspirations.
Right.
What do you say to them? What's the most important thing?
Well, I say that if you have a dream and there's something that you want to do, you have to really give it everything you've got and go for it, and just keep being persistent. Work at it, work at it, work at it. Learn everything you can about your craft. And just be, if you're trying to be a recording artist or a musician, just work at it. You have to really love what you do and try to do everything now, because it's a little bit different now than it used to be.
In what way?
I still kick myself for never taking piano lessons longer than I did. So I can pick a little bit and play a little bit, but I can't accompany myself. So you know, I say now I wish I would have went back and stayed with it. So if there's somebody out there that wants to be a singer, learn to play music as well. It always helps.
I don't know if you can answer this, but as a rock disc jockey years ago, they used to tell us, and I remember this very well, coming out of the hour, play a group, then go to a male artist, and don't go to a female artist too early in the show because it's a turnoff.
Really?
That was actually told to us. No, I'm serious. females just, you know, they were not the big stars. And, you know, you had your groups, you had your rock groups and all that kind of thing. But
That's kind of turned around now, isn't it?
And now look at it.
Oh.
Why do you think that's
domination,
happened?
I don't, wow, I think it's the image. I think if we have to really analyze it, I guess it's videos. Maybe the introduction of music videos have showed the sexy image of the woman and put it together. It's now a whole package. It's a little bit, it's interesting. The visuals are there now.
Yeah, the lady who won this year, and we're coming back to people that can really sing. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
I love some of this, what we're hearing today. All right, let's take some phone calls. Lola is on the line. Hi, Lola.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. Have a great time tonight.
Yeah, anyway, my name's Lola Lush, and I'm actually an artist here in Vancouver. I work for a circus theater troupe, and I'm also a musician. And anyway, yeah, I'd just like to say I find that television and music videos as an art form can be very detrimental to youth. And me, myself being one, I know the effects, like, very immediately.
You want to be a little more specific on that? Are you talking about, like, young children? Because I have noticed...
You know what,
I mentioned this in the show previous. I walked by Willowbrook Mall, and I was watching some young people watching a music video in one of the stores, and these kids were like 9, 10 years of age, you know, cute young girls, and they had all the moves down, but they were just, it was really very sexual, you know. I mean, 10-year-old girls. Now, do they understand that at 10 that these are sexual moves, or?
I think it's just.
I think they do.
Emulation. I'm not. Do you think so, Lola?
I definitely think they do. I mean, I think everyone knows what sex is at a very young age, just intuitively.
Here's a question too, and I'll throw this out to you guys. Do you think that we have taken away the innocence of childhood? That young children are far too informed about life at an early age?
I think they're just informed in the wrong way. Like, I think that television is just, it's not a communication that a child should be having. Like, they shouldn't be communicating with their TV, like, 24 hours a day. They should be having communication with an actual human being. And I think that's where it becomes detrimental, because just television is so mediated and so detached and so unrealistic these days. Like, even right down to, like, news stations, like, let alone, you know, a video, especially a music video, that, I mean, that's where the problem comes in.
Interesting comments, Lola. Let's see what some other people have to say. Thank you. Maria is on the line. Hi, Marie.
Hi, how are you?
I said Maria. It's Marie, right?
It's Marie.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I've been watching music videos for a while now. I'm 34, and I just find that there's too much sex in videos. But dealing with Christina Aguilera, I was listening to an interview that she did, and she was abused by her father, and I have a feeling that the reason why she got her change is because by her father. And I wish she would have stayed in the pretty side, and now she's the naughty person, you know? And
yeah, you were talking about that, like you don't want to do anything that your father would not be comfortable watching, right? You have that as a standard. I thought that was kind of cool.
Totally. Like, everything I do, I think, would my dad watch this? Because he says to me, am I able to watch this, or is this going to just completely embarrass me, and am I going to be disgusted? And, you know, I always say, you can watch it. So when we're shooting a video, I honestly say, like,
that's
so many times
standard.
I'll say, would my dad watch this? Was that shot too sexy? Because if my dad won't watch it, it's going to, you know, I don't, like we said before, there's a fine line between being sexy and being sleazy. And some people, probably their standards are, I mean, they have different parameters for what they consider to be, but mine are pretty.
Charles Barkley came out years ago and he says, I am not going to be your role model. Yeah, I don't want to be the role model to kids. You know, your parents ought to be your role models. Well, I'm sorry, Charles, but kids watch you play basketball, and you are bigger than life, and they will emulate you. I mean, once you're a star, what's the responsibility that you have to the children and to the youth? I mean, do you think about that? Does it kind of roll through your mind from time to time, saying, hey, there is a huge responsibility that goes along with the business that I'm in?
Absolutely. I think about it a lot. I do think about it, and I want to make sure that I'm not portraying an image that, number one, is not me, because obviously I've had many times where people have said to me, when we're doing videos or when I'm even recording or writing a song where it can go over. I can say, I can't sing that. I can't say that. I can't look like that. I can't wear that outfit. It's just not me. But it looks hot. Well, I know, but it's just not me. I can't go over a certain line.
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, and that's really not a bit. You know, do you think that we touched on this issue of the young girls and the thinness and the idea of having to be this almost Barbie doll type of look that is so prevalent? I mean, where are the Mama Casses of the world? You know, I mean, you know, that type of thing. Do you think that this has been something that has been detrimental to a lot of young ladies growing up? Has that been a problem with you, where you're looking and saying, this is what they want me to be?
At times, I think everybody believes they should conform. Yeah, like I think it's not just music videos. I think women are constantly inundated with magazines and imagery on television commercials and actresses.
That stuff is not real, as we know. I mean, what was it, J-Lo? She had her butt airbrushed? I mean, you know.
It was, see, but the thing is that I don't think, I mean, that most people know that. I don't really believe. In fact, it's funny, I was talking to my sister-in-law and the other day in Ohio, and she did not know. She was feeling depressed about the way she looks, and she's absolutely gorgeous, but she felt depressed, and she said, you know, I'm looking at all these Victoria's Secret models, and I get the catalog every day, it seems like, and I feel so depressed. And I said, but so much of it, they're gorgeous women, but so much of it is airbrushed. So much of it, they take out any little imperfections, and it's a magazine, and it's supposed to look great, and it's selling something. But I don't really believe, she didn't know that. And, you know, she's early 30s and didn't know that.
It'd be kind of an interesting thing to be able to have. Do you write music?
I do, yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting sometime to be able to develop something in that type of a theme where you'd be able to put a music video about, you know, you're okay, you know, that type of area. Because music having that power, imagine what we could do if we started bringing imagery in that allowed maybe different looks in music videos where everybody wasn't this, you know.
Well, did you know, Christina Aguilera just did a video that was absolutely brilliant, and she did a song called Beautiful, which was amazing, and it had different imagery of people that just all walks of life, every sexual orientation, and people who were skinny, people who were a little overweight, whatever, and showed that you're beautiful in every way, in different ways, that people are all still beautiful.
See, I'm going for bald. Bald is
and
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful look, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I'm telling myself. I'm sticking with that story, all right? Jacob's on the line. Hi, Jacob.
Hello, Doug.
Nice to have a guy tonight calling in on the program, by the way.
Yeah, well, I just want to get a guy's perspective on this thing a bit. You know, the effect it has on men is you know, I mean, it's a major thing, you know, and the expectations of young men for women when they see them on TV so scantily dressed and this type of thing. And I deal with men with addictions, and I'll tell you, it's the mind really, you know, when you're involved with your wife and things, and you got these images running through your head of the things you see, you know, and it's just not a good thing.
Well, I'm thinking what it would be. You know, I'm glad I'm at the age I'm at right now. Not that I'm over the hill on this, by the way. We're not starting any rumors here. But I think, man, what it would be like to be 16 with the hormones going wild and seeing the way, you know, that constant imagery.
Yeah.
And then you're going out on a date, and you know the girl is dressed in a certain way, and the guy's sitting back saying, "Well, all right, you know, this is going to be a great time," which may not be the image that the young lady really doesn't want to. I mean, I'm not speaking for you guys, but
I hear you.
doesn't want to go there. But yet she's in that mode. You know what I mean? So it sends out all kinds of mixed messages, and I wonder if that's confusing to our young people today. We should ask them.
We should.
See if we get a few calls from some young people. Yeah, Jacob, thanks for calling in and give us the male perspective there. If we have some young people too, I'd like to know, is it confusing to you? I mean, you're getting all this imagery thrown at you. How do you sift through it? 1-866-NOW-TV10. Nice sound. Really nice sound. You're watching Online Primetime. My name is Doug Kooy, and with me is Mary Zelba, a recording artist, now living here in Vancouver.
I am.
From Ohio and Los Angeles. How about acting?
Crisscrossed everywhere, I think.
How about acting?
Wow, acting. I've had a couple
You're doing a soundtrack.
I just did a soundtrack for a movie called Apartment 3.
You had a great song in that. Leonard Cohen.
A Leonard Cohen song.
Called Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
How's that go?
Do you want me to sing it?
Yeah, just sing a bit of it.
It goes, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. That's it.
Catchy words. I love the lyrics.
I think it was done on the Shrek soundtrack as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the kids might even know it. See, that's a kid-friendly song.
You got any social issues? Things that when you think about, because we know you as a pop singer and very beautiful contestant. You won Miss Ohio, all that type of thing. So it could get very easy to kind of package you and just say, well, that's what you are. You're the pop singer. What kind of turns your crank as far as social issues, things that really kind of bother you? Is there something that stands out?
Well, children's issues always have been very, very big in my heart, and I found one of the contributors to St. Jude's Children's Research. I can't even say it. Research Hospital.
Yeah,
it's catching.
It's the late night show.
In Memphis, Tennessee. So my parents have always been big supporters of that, and I've always done that as well in raising money for children who are chronically ill.
Yeah.
And I also just finished. I guess it was about 4 months ago now. I did a song with some national artists for The Streets Where You Live, helping get young women off the streets and homeless women and women who have been lost somehow. So we're raising money for that. So we did a song on the Women in Song 6 soundtrack.
Nothing tears me apart more than drive through, East Hastings and see some of the young ladies on the street and things like that.
It's so sad. It really is, and you just want to give them hope, and that's all everybody really wants in life, I think, is hope. And when you feel like you don't have hope, it's.
You were raised in a Catholic family.
I was, yeah.
What's your faith mean to you?
My faith has always been very, very strong. It's, I think, the inner core of who I am. It always is there. It never leaves. It's something I try to instill in my children, something I consistently, someone that I consistently turn to on a daily basis. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that inner core of spirituality.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Shauna's on the line. Hi, Shauna.
Hi.
Your thoughts tonight.
Pardon?
Your thoughts tonight.
Yes, I had a couple of thoughts about, there's quite a few people calling in about the negativity about the sexual exploitation in videos today. And just one point that I wanted to make clear is that growing up in a musical family myself, my father being a country musician for many years and my sisters following in his footsteps, we've always had really good influences in music such as Shania Twain, Dixie Chicks. Myself, I always like Lauryn Hill, and I find that these people really bring out a wholesome, good environment in their videos, And you see, people like Christina Aguilera, lately her videos have been, a little over the borderline with her sexuality. But there are good musicians out there, like Mary herself. Like, her videos are very well pinpointed to what's acceptable and what's not.
Shauna, thank you.
You're very
so
welcome.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much. What do you, when you write your music, simple question, but where's your inspiration come from? What are you trying to, what are you saying in your music?
That's a really good question. I have so many other things to say than probably what I've written about, and part of the problem with the music business right now, this is kind of an offshoot of what you asked me, but is that you try to conform to radio, and you try to conform to
what's going to sell.
Yes, and it gets difficult at times because things that you want to say and things that you want to write about might not be something that anybody really cares to hear about.
But how would we ever know? Because there are certain people making decisions about that, and I'm not so sure that they're always right, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are getting a little bit tired of some of the fluff that's out there and saying, give us a little bit of depth, give us something. I think Eminem, the reason of his popularity is because he comes out and he says some crazy things.
That's a good point, yeah.
And people went, oh, I think he's a little over the edge, he's a little over the edge. Well, they said that, you know, about a lot of people in the past, and they proved them wrong.
Well, the thing about a lot of pop music is that it's about the groove. It's not so much about the lyric. It's about the groove, and it's about it's the danceability of it. There's other factors that are involved. But I know I'm starting to work on my third album soon, and I had just said to someone at my record label that this record I've already started and is going to be about issues and things that I really, really want to write about, and things that I'm not even going to really, I'm trying to not think about the commerciality of it and just really do what's in my heart to do, and hope people like it and hope people still listen to my music.
You know, it's very difficult in the music business right now because songs aren't, I mean, they're not selling. Not because they're not popular, but we got this little problem going on with people downloading music.
Yes, it's a very, very severe problem, actually. I mean, the music industry is faltering because of it, and a lot of artists are losing record sales, a ton of record sales. And so I don't know what they're going to do about this problem, but
I hope they get it worked out, because it is it's really affecting the industry now.
I know, even so many people have said to me, hey, I just downloaded your song, and I'm like, really? So you didn't buy my record?
Yeah, and then they'll come up and want you to sign it or something. Here's this copy of the CD that I just stole from you.
And I think,
and people don't realize that that's exactly what they've done. They stole that.
They stole the music. That's right. And you know,
and then they
you
want
put so
you to
much
sign
effort into making the album cover and to all the things that go into it, and people don't buy it for that. They buy it for maybe one song, and you'd hope they'd buy it for the entire album and take a listen. But
yeah, Natasha's on the line. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Doug. I was just going to say, I think children grow up with home values first, and we do leave an impression on our children. And we talked about music when my son was younger, but then comes peers, and I find that in my son's age group, the Britney Spears kind of image is, as they say, too much information. They actually they want to listen to people that are real. They find that the sexuality is way, way overdone, and therefore they don't buy her records. And I think they do download sometimes, because on a lot of albums there's only one album, like one record, one song that's really good, so they have a tendency to do that. But I think that some of these women that knock themselves out so hard to make that video, they're rejecting it, and I don't.
Well, somebody must be buying it, because I mean, it's hugely popular. They do you know, I hear what you're saying, Natasha, but the reason they do what they do is because it sells, you know.
Right, but I'm saying that with my son's peers, she's not. Like, they don't buy it.
Oh, okay.
And I think that has to do with their own value system. It has to do with how they look at women, and they prefer the women that are real. But these are also the group of teens that don't like labeled T-shirts and things like that. They have their own vein.
Getting a little backlash here.
that's very interesting. Good for them, though, to have you know, the value system.
Well, she brings up a good point. Thank you for your call, Natasha. She brings up a good point. I wonder if we're going to start seeing a real backlash to this. Like I'm saying, you know, when you come out and say, hey, let me record some of this music that really has a message, you know, that all of a sudden people are going to say, hey, we want to go there, you know. Like,
well, I have to tell you,
like Nora Jones, I mean.
That's a perfect example. She did something that she never thought would get on popular radio, and it did, and here she's won all these Grammys. It's quite interesting.
Were you surprised about that?
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought the song was amazing, but I was surprised that pop radio played it.
I've got 1 minute left. I want to ask you a question. 10 years from now, you look at your life and say, well, let's say 15 years from now.
Okay.
15 years out, where do you want to be?
15 years.
If you could just dream a little bit.
I would like to still be making records. I still would like to just, I mean, it's what I do. It's my art. It's what's in my heart to do. I'd just like to have, you know, I always have said I'd love to have a career like, I know this is an older artist, but Anne Murray, somebody who just consistently could put out a record, and they have a following, and people enjoy their music or her music, and I'd just be happy being able to make records and
And you'll probably redefine yourself a few times. You know, you just kind
I'm
of...
doing that now, yeah.
Yeah.
Like each record, I'm redefining what I really want to do and who I am. And
We got to go here, but thank you so much.
you are so
You're
welcome.
just a
Thank
great,
you.
great
Thank
guest.
you for having me.
We'll
Thank
have you
you.
back on again.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right, I'll be back. I've got my final comments. You won't want to miss that. We'll be back with that right after this. Job to have. Well, I personally think that being a major movie or musical celebrity would be a very tough job. I mean, the reason I say that is that I've known very few people who handle star status well. I mean, the world of so many celebrities is filled with broken relationships, drug addiction, many weekly trips to the shrink. Now, I believe that part of the problem may lie in the fact that individuals were never created to be worshipped. You know, as humans, we make lousy gods. The major difficulty is that the lifestyle is like a trap. You know, it starts out like a roller coaster. Celebrities climb a large hill and they think it is going very slow. But sooner than expected, they reach the peak of their climb. While at the top, a star will experience great exhilaration. But then there is the start of the descent down. And believe me, that can be a ride. You know, the fear that is in most superstars that when they have reached their peak, the road down can be very devastating. Now, the book I read a lot simply states that pride comes before the fall. The thing that our stars need more than anything else is not our judgment. They need our love. They need our acceptance. We need to remember that we are all the same, and we have the same basic needs. It is hard to live in a glass house. The reason so many stars crash and burn is that so many people throw stones, and that is tough when the stone throwers live in a glass house themselves. Now, I believe prayer works. I also believe that people in the spotlight need our prayers more than they need our judgment. They have one of the toughest jobs on the planet. For Online Primetime, this is Doug Kooy saying good night and God bless.